The best coaches in the game, we really ain't playing. We regroup up in the Slack chat where the coaches debrief. We be piecing these puzzles, occupy the chunk of the pie. Ain't no lie when we hit the block, helmets casket is top. You be seeing helmet after helmet, helmet after helmet. First place, second place, fifth place, eighth place, 12th place, 15, 16, 20. So many helmets, you got blurred vision, we got too many. Get your tech. Oh man, shit. They got us fucked up. Army, regroup. We pledge always to have that edge. We don't fire warning shots. Competition just drop. We locked and loaded before lock. Whatever the time, yeah. Do you even correlate?
Being the best requires a willingness to outwork your competition. There's always someone smarter, faster, sharper, more naturally gifted that's coming around.
What is up? Week 16. It was a wild one. It's finally over. And with that, this is Fantasy Fling with DFS Army doing your cash lineup review. So let's jump into it. Doing this a little later than normal, so I had to pull up the archives as we don't have like our normal chalkboard and our normal cheat sheet. So what we had here was the Week 16 cash game cheat sheet. This is something that, as a DFS Army subscriber, you have access to, which is basically my coach's notes that going to give you the best cash plays for you to piece together your lineup. These are a combination of players who are highly owned, which you could tell they're highly owned by going to DFS Army's chalkboard or our domination station, which is our optimizer and shows projected ownership. It also shows projections for the players. So, we're looking for players who project well and are getting good volume each and every week. So have a good floor fantasy points per game, and obviously are going to be highly owned. So you're going to have some safety net in cash games as you're only trying to beat 50% of the field. So, with that, these are some of the players that we had identified this past week. Justin Fields was the top pay up option, and he ended up doing quite well. He scored 25 points. So we loved Fields. What we also liked, though, was the price discount that you got from Nick Mullins, who actually ended up being the highest owned quarterback on the slate. Let's see the double up that I did. We had Fields and then Mullins. So Fields was 44% owned. Actually, Fields actually ended up being a little bit more owned in that one. So Fields 44%, Mullins 23%, but they were both the highest owned quarterbacks on the slate, which is why they made our cash game sheet. The thing with Mullins is this allowed you a little bit of salary relief to pay up to get like a CeeDee Lamb, to get a Justin Jefferson, and get a Jonathan Taylor in there, or Rachaad White. So with a Fields lineup, you were most likely going to be paying down a little bit at one of those spots, maybe to Chuba Hubbard, or if you did really well, Breece Hall. And, running backs, this is where it really smashed. But we like to look at this because this just gives you overall lineup construction. When you're piecing together your lineup, it's kind of like a Tetris. Did the pieces fit? If I got Justin Fields, I probably can't do Jonathan Taylor and Tyreek Hill, right? So I'm going to have to, if I want like a Tyreek Hill, I'm probably going to have to go down to Mullins so that I'm not punting a lot of other spots in the lineup. Now, running backs, this was a really good week for the running back pool that we got. Rachaad White, 19 points. Jonathan Taylor, kind of a snowflake, but 10 points. Doesn't really hurt you that much in your cash games. You're not going to win a tournament with it, but 7,200, 10 points, you'll take that. And then where we really nailed it this week, it was Breece Hall. Now, I expected Breece Hall to have a good game. I did not expect him to score 43 points, which is what he got in this spot. So absolute smash ceiling performance from Breece Hall. And Chuba Hubbard, love the spot, love the volume. He didn't get the tutties. They all went to DJ Chark, but he's only 5,700, and he got you 12 points, more than enough for your cash games. And then Ty Chandler. The thing with Ty Chandler, he didn't have a great game, But he was the highest owned guy. He was 31% owned. So it didn't really hurt you because about a third of the field played Ty Chandler, and he was only 5,600. So, you're going to need some of these cheapies in your cash build. At running back, just kind of chasing volume. You want starters, even if they're in a tough matchup, if they're projecting as highly owned and, they're getting a lot of volume, these are the guys you're going to want to target. So at wide receiver, the one spot that I missed here was DeAndre Hopkins. And it wasn't, again, you kind of look at the safety and it wasn't too bad. I mean, the score was terrible. Don't get me wrong. But, let's see what he ended up with as far as ownership. So he actually ended up being about 10% owned, which isn't what you typically want for your wide receivers, which is actually, I didn't play him in my cash lineup, as you're going to see, but I did think the ownership that we were seeing and the matchup, it ended up looking well for DeAndre Hopkins, but he didn't get there, obviously, only 4 points. But everywhere else in this lineup, for me, and by the way, this is something that I preached in the coach's notes. Calvin Ridley was my favorite play in this $6,000 range. So this is something else that, as the slate unfolds and we get all the news, once Trevor Lawrence was a full go, I said Calvin Ridley was one of my favorite plays. And in that 6K range, if it was Calvin Ridley or DeAndre Hopkins, for me, it was going to be Calvin Ridley. He smashed. He got 25 points. So ended up being a really good call there. Justin Jefferson, 29 points. CeeDee Lamb, 28 points. And then Tyreek Hill had a dud. Just missed on a long touchdown. That would have been probably 25 point plus for Tyreek Hill. But yeah, even at 18 points, you could do a lot worse. But again, in the coach's notes, Tyreek Hill wasn't my top pay up option this week. It was going to be Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb. And they both did quite a bit better. Now, the one guy that we had identified, a couple guys, the mid-range guys, in addition to Calvin Ridley, also like Garrett Wilson a lot. So you'll see I did play him in my cash lineup. I think so. I think anyway, he was 5,800. We'll get to it in a minute. And he got 15 points. And then Dontavian Wicks with Jaden Reed out, with Christian Watson out, really loved him at 4,300. And he ended up getting 10 points before he got hurt. So that was a really good play at 4,300. That's exactly what you're looking for. At tight end, there were three guys that I really liked just based on ownership and value. Njoku did well again. What did he have? I think he had 16 points. So he was really good. Trey McBride, 9 points. And then Tucker Kraft was 10 points at 3,700. So that was definitely a guy that I had identified as my pay down option. And yeah, you get a $3,700 tight end, you get 10 points. That'll do it for your cash games. And then defenses, two defenses that I targeted, Jets, 8 points, and Buccaneers D. So, 16 points for Buccaneers D really did well this week, as you're going to see with my lineup and some of the DFS Army VIPs. Just going from the cheat sheet. So, G Thumb. So this is our season-long content creator at DFS Army. He smashes in DFS 2. He had Nick Mullins, Jonathan Taylor, Ty Chandler. So quite a similar build to myself, actually, except he had Jefferson, Ridley, and Dontavian Wicks. And then he did Cole Kmet. And then he did a double tight end build with the Jets D. So was able to hit the cash line, 142 points for him. Good job. And then our next boy, Thomas D.Y., I've showed a lot of his episodes on these breakdowns. He continues to smash and cash. So good job to Thomas D.Y. Nick Mullins, Jonathan Taylor. He did play Roshan. I didn't like Roshan in cash, but, it worked out because he still got 8 points from him. So that's more than enough for his salary. I think it was 5,000 max. Justin Jefferson, Calvin Ridley played Jackson Smith and Jigba, 12 points there. Played Njoku, and then, he played Breece Hall. So if you played Breece Hall in cash, you smashed this past week. And that's really all it took between Ridley, Jefferson, Breece Hall, and Nick Mullins. It was going to be difficult not to hit the cash line. You can see he got a 0 here from the defense and still hit the cash line pretty well. And then last, we are going to show my lineup. So, I mean, I did well in cash this week, almost 180 points. This is what happens when you have a chalk smash. Now, kind of similar to Thomas DY, I played the Panthers D, so I wanted to pay down to kind of, because my typical strategy is I'm going to pay down a defense and I'm going to try to spend all my salary. So sometimes if I can, I'm going for a pay down, but if I could pay a couple hundred more to spend all the salary, I will do that. And I also, want to look for a pay down option at tight end as well. So I don't want to pay, above 5K. So I liked Cole Kmet. I liked Ridley and Jefferson, as you saw on my sheet. Liked Taylor and Chandler in their spots, and I went with Mullins. And, this kind of worked out because when I was looking at my salary, I just had enough, I think, for Amari Cooper's salary. And I was just kind of scrolling through the range. And even though he wasn't on my cash sheet, I looked at the chalkboard and he was projected for some ownership. And, I looked at his targets under Flacco and, he began 8+ targets every game with Flacco. So I felt like Amari Cooper was a good play. Despite, not having a ton of ownership and just trying to spend all my salary, and ended up paying off handsomely as he got 54 points. And there's another thing I put in my coach's notes. I just felt this was a 2 running back, 3 wide receiver plus wide receiver in the flex. So 4 wide receiver. I did not like to do 3 running backs this week. It just didn't feel right. There just wasn't enough value. And typically on DraftKings, you're going to want to do wide receiver in the flex unless there's great value at running back. There was good value, but the matchups weren't great. So I wasn't comfortable playing like Chandler and Singletary, right? So that's where I went to the wide receiver. Over on FanDuel, you're typically going to want to play a running back in the flex because rushing touchdowns are premium over there. Touchdowns are premium, and that's the quickest path to them is running backs who have the best odds to score touchdowns. So, overall, really good cash week. We stay profitable in cash. It's been a great year in cash, and we're looking to continue it, keep it going to close out the season. And by the way, I know that the NFL season is nearing its end, but we still have 2 weeks of the regular season, and then we have wild card round. We have the divisional round. We have the conference championship. We have the Super Bowl. So we have 6 weeks still left of NFL content coming your way. So we're running a promotion. This is a Christmas special, 24% off any membership for new members only. This includes all the articles, the videos, the cheat sheets, optimizer, the domination station, all our tools. 24% off any membership. So this includes like the Lite, the Core 4, all sports, use code promo 2024 at checkout if you want to win, as we do in cash, as we take down big tournaments all the time for all DFS Army VIPs. So if you want to be a VIP, now's the time to join us. I appreciate y'all joining me. I will be back, of course, DFS Army VIPs. I will be dropping the cash video Thursday night for VIPs only, our VIP only breakdown for cash games. And then, of course, next week, I'm actually getting married, so I will not be doing the review video, but I'm sure someone will. And I will be back the following week for the review video. So best of luck, everyone. We will see you next time.